Manchester United back again this weekend against Bournemouth. Really big game for Manchester United to continue any sort of resurgence in terms of getting back to winning consistently for Manchester United. We've got to be looking at winning this game. Now, we did win 3 games on the bounce earlier in the season, and we've got to get back to winning getting 3, 4, 5 wins beyond on the bounce, because when we won them few games, I was hopeful that Manchester United, with some decent fixtures, the likes of Derby and Wolves coming up on the horizon in them fixtures, that Manchester United could go on a run, and they didn't do that, didn't kick on. Now, in the league, we've been a bit better lately, not great, but a bit better. Now, we got the draw in that game against Chelsea, and then followed it up with the win against Everton, and we've got to get the win in this game. Now, key has been Anthony Martial's return to form. Hopefully he can continue this form going into this game, because we really need them sort of players to step up to the mark. We haven't seen consistently enough over the last 3 or 4 years of Anthony Martial being consistent. When he's been on the top of his game, he can at times be unplayable, but the problem is just not good enough at some times, and looks really, really poor at times. You're not getting that 7.5 out of 10, which you need most weeks from Anthony Martial. You're either getting an 8 or a 9 out of 10, or you're getting a 4 out of 10, which Manchester United just can't accept, unfortunately. If you're playing for Manchester United, you've got to be a 7 out of 10 or 7.5 out of 10 nearly every week, and then you've got to have at least a few 8 or 9 out of 10s around the corner. And at the moment, he's looking a bit more consistent, been Manchester United's Player of the Month, so he's going to hopefully be key to this game. Now, I'm not too sure if Jose Mourinho is going to change a lot for this game, to be honest. For the longest time, it was before he kept the same team, and Manchester United did keep the same team 2 games in a row the other week. And Jose Mourinho was always known for keeping a settled team. That's what brought him so much success in his early days. I remember at Chelsea, you could pretty much name the starting lineup that Jose Mourinho would play in pretty much most league games, and we just aren't seeing any of that consistency. He still doesn't know his best starting lineup, but I think we're gradually getting, to knowing a lot of the players that I feel should be playing in this team, which we've currently got players in the positions anyway. There's still areas we definitely need to improve, and I thought the midfield was a lot better with Fred in it. Now, I did say Fred looked a bit rusty in that game the other day. He hadn't played for a while, so I thought it took him a bit of time to get into the game, but to be honest, I thought he does make a difference in that midfield, and I don't see why Jose Mourinho hasn't been playing, to be honest, considering we spent big money on him, and I don't think he's too bad a player himself anyway. So I think he does give us something completely different to what the other players give us in midfield. And with Matic not playing well, we need something else to offer us in midfield. I know he's nowhere near the same player as Matic, but we need something else in midfield. With him not playing very well, and Pogba's playing all right as well at times, so we need that other midfielder in there, and he really does help. So I think he's going to keep probably the same back 4, to be honest. I can't see him changing. Ashley Young on one side, obviously Luke Shaw on the other, and it'll be Smalling and Lindelof. Christ knows what's happened to Bay. He doesn't even seem to get on the substitutes bench. We didn't do in the last game anyway. Lindelof has been an improved player over the last, what would you say, 3 or 4 games for Manchester United, which hopefully he can continue that now and move forward. Still very young, still only about 23 years of age. You think of the likes of Vidic and Evra coming to Manchester United at 23, 24 years of age, and they took time to settle into Manchester United. I'm not saying that was I mean, it's not always the case. Some players do not settle and never settle in Manchester. But Lindelof is starting to play a bit better lately, so hopefully he can continue that form and become a main stake in this back 4, because Manchester United are going to sign some defenders at some point in the next 2 transfer windows. It's almost a given that Manchester United are going to sign a centre-half, an experienced one, and we may even choose to sign another right-back, because I don't know if Diogo Dalot, if Jose Mourinho continues to be Manchester United manager, if he's going to really give him the chance, because even when he's fit, he's been not even on the bench half the time, and surely he's got to be better than Ashley Young when fit, and Antonio Valencia. Got to give the kid a chance when fit. To be honest, for me, it's going to have to be Pogba, Matic and Fred in the midfield again, unless he somehow decides to put Herrera in the midfield, which a lot of people would sooner see over Matic, because Matic has been poor for Manchester United recently. Maybe he needs a couple of games on the sidelines for Manchester United, I don't know, but he is knocking on into his latter years now. Could he be on the decline? I hope he's not on the decline, but maybe he can only perform at the top for 30, 35 games a season, and Manchester United need to start bringing in another younger player to cope with that burden from Matic. Maybe Herrera could be the man to come into the Manchester United team. I would expect him to keep Matic though. And then the forward line, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if he's going to bring Lukaku back, because I didn't think Rashford was really at his best for that last game. But personally, I want to see Sanchez given a roll down the middle, just see what he can do. Scored against Newcastle, and we haven't seen him since. So, well, we have seen him against Chelsea, but very briefly. And in the other games, he didn't feature. So, who knows? But I would like to see him down the middle, and then you would play Rashford and Martial on either side and have Lukaku on the bench. I think that would be the better of the best of the options for me, unless you want to play Mata out wide and leave Marcus Rashford on the bench. The only problem with Rashford is he's only got one goal this season. We need to get him some more goals. So I would personally go with Rashford over Juan Mata for this one, and try Sanchez down the middle, see what he can do. You know, the league. I mean, the league is just completely fucked up for Manchester United. I'm still not sure unless drastically something changes that we're even going to challenge for this top four this season, which is a catastrophic of errors for Manchester United. Not even being able to get it right to even be able to challenge for the top four. I mean, that is just abysmal for Manchester United. But this is going to be a real difficult game for Manchester United. They're going to cause us all sorts of problems. They like to play good football, play attacking football. They're not one of these teams that you go to like Burnley that in recent years anyway, up till this season, have kept it pretty tight and tried to nick games. These are a team that do like to play, and Eddie Howe's done a fantastic job there, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't become a manager of a top club, maybe the size of Everton, after leaving Bournemouth, because he has done really very, very good things there, and they've got a number of good players that could cause Manchester United problems. Wilson up front could cause Manchester United some problems, and one or two others. So it's going to be a difficult game. I think Manchester United are going to struggle to win this game. I'm going to go for Manchester United drawing this game 1-1. I'm hoping though that we can just sneak the win, just just put the ball in the back of the net and just win this game 2-1. Anything I would accept it, an own goal, whatever, just to get that win, because after that we've got City, and to beat City I think it's going to be very unlikely for Manchester United, to be honest, in the form that Manchester United have been in, shipping in the amount of goals that we have been. So if we lose that game to City, which we probably will, then if we don't win this game, we're going to be looking at the bottom half of the table, and that's just not good enough for Manchester United, and no other team in Europe would part with this. We've looked at what Real Madrid have done this past week. Lopetegui has just been given the bullet at Real Madrid because it's not good enough, and we shouldn't be accepting this anymore. And I don't think even if we win this game, I can say that Manchester United are back in the race for the top four. So I think we're out of the race for the top four at the moment, unless dramatically something changes. I know people are going to think I'm being negative, but it's just Manchester United haven't been good enough this season, and I can't be confident in Manchester United if Manchester United have been so poor. We've been letting in sloppy goals and everything. We've kept one clean sheet in the league all season. Okay, we're attacking a bit better than we have done in previous seasons, and I think that Manchester United, I'm more confident that Manchester United can maybe score goals than before certainly under Van Gaal, and maybe under Jose Mourinho in previous seasons. But even last season we were scoring 4 goals on a number of occasions early on in the season, and then it went to pot. So, but we haven't been scoring 4 goals in games this season. So even then, the league, we're still behind all the other top teams at the top of the table, the likes of Liverpool, probably Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea and Man City, behind them in goals scored as well as goals against. It's just, goals against is just terrible for Manchester United. Them teams have got much meaner defences. Anyway, hopefully Manchester United can get this job done, just win the fucking game and move on. That's all I give a shit about now. I couldn't even care. I know we played a bit better against Everton, but to be honest, if the football was absolutely drab in this game and we won the fucking game and next game against Man City, I wouldn't give a shit, because the result is all that matters. And some people said that we were a bit more defensive in that game against Everton when we did actually try to see the game out. We had to just fucking win that game. We couldn't rely
on pushing for that third too much. I know Anthony Martial missed one in the remaining minutes, but we couldn't be pushing too much. We've just got to get the result at this moment in time and just move forward. Performances can improve over time. I do want some improvement in performances on a consistent basis, because that will lead to better results. But the most important thing now is trying to win some games to hopefully get to January and maybe bring one or two players in to maybe stiffen the defence, which is going to be difficult. But if we can stay in contention for that top 4 places come January, then we have a chance. But if the performances are coming and the results aren't coming, then we're absolutely fucking snookered. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this game. Do you think Manchester United can beat this really difficult and probably the best Bournemouth team they've ever had in the Premier League era? Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll talk to you all again soon. See ya.